Hello everyone, welcome to Dr. Rajkumar Academy. Welcome to the session on 14/11/2022. Yeah, so guys, still the course is open for admissions. Those who are interested can join. So now let's quickly get into the news. The first most important thing is Democrats retain control of US Senate. See guys, in United States of America, there is two political parties. One is Republican, another one is Democrat. And they have presidential form of government, whereas India has prime minister based one, that is parliamentary based. So in India, normally what happens? We all elect MPs, and the MPs will elect the prime minister. Whereas in US, there will be one election held for president, another election held for the parliament, that is the Senate. Now, sometimes, normally, if the president is from Democratic Party, the parliament will be under the control of Republicans. And when president is from Republican, the parliament will be under the control of Democrats. And normally that is made because people will vote in that manner mainly to ensure that there is some accountability. So if the president is doing any mistake, the parliament can stop him, right? So India was not comfortable with this particular system, so we went with the parliamentary form, which is followed in UK as well. So now, for the very long time, if we check, Democrats is retaining control of US Senate, even though the Democrat is the president. So even though Biden is the president, he is able to control through re-election, which is actually emphasizing that Trump is becoming weaker day by day. G20 summit to focus on food energy security. See guys, G20 summit is held in Indonesia, and from December 1st till next December, India will be holding the presidency. As India will be holding the presidency, India is looking this as an opportunity to highlight ourselves at the international forum. Many people are also talking about India trying to mediate between Russia and Ukraine, and India being a president in G20 will give it an opportunity to discuss with Russia and Ukraine. So, India wants to use this as a particular phenomena, right? To show to the world that Indian culture and India is growing diplomatically as well. Now, what exactly they want to discuss, we will get to know. This is just to focus on. Fine. Today we have some more articles to discuss and write, guys. So let's quickly get into the issues. A sense of an ending. Remorse of convict should be a prior requirement for premature release. Because it is talking about recently Supreme Court releasing death sentence given to 7 convicts of Rajiv Gandhi's case. Is Let me explain you what happened in the Rajiv Gandhi case, because we are entering into that here. See guys, somewhere in 1980s there was a civil war. Civil war basically means when people try to fight within themselves, Hindu Muslim fight and all. So in Sri Lanka, there was Tamil and Sinhalese fight, but it was not a fight between communities, but it was a fight between LTTE, which was having arms, and Sri Lankan military, which was having arms. At that point of time, US and all tried to interfere so that they can control Sri Lanka indirectly. But India didn't want US to control Sri Lanka. So what India did, India requested LTTE and Sri Lankan army and sent its peacekeeping forces. We call it as Indian peacekeeping forces to Sri Lanka. So when we sent our forces to Sri Lanka, what we did, we were in between LTTE and Sri Lankan army, and we ensured that they both will not fight. And we proposed that both should talk. But before talks to start, LTTE should give up their arms. We told that you please give up your arms and come for talks. But LTTE felt that India is siding Sinhalese government, India is supporting Sinhalese government, and what India is doing is India is trying to kill LTTE people. So LTTE pressurized its cadres and it made a team to go and attack Rajiv Gandhi. And when Rajiv Gandhi visited Sri Perambudur, there was a belt bomb attack, and if at all one bomb attack failed, there was another lady by name Nalini who was ready to blast. But as soon as the first girl was the first girl was successful in killing Rajiv Gandhi, all these people escaped. Now Nalini was arrested, and along with her many local people who supported them were arrested. They were put for life imprisonment where they have to be in prison throughout their life. But it's 30 years. In 2018, Tamil Nadu supported these people and asked that they must be released, but unfortunately, the governor at that time did not act. And then the case went to Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court, with its special power, tried to release them. Right? So this is what the story is, but I just want you to have a proper idea of this. Behind the smoke screen around private climate finance. Yeah. So it's a very important issue. Let me explain and then I'll dictate notes on this. See guys, recently we read that to adapt and mitigate. Because there are two terms in climate change today. One is adaptation, another one is mitigation. See guys, adaptation, I need to adapt to climate change because already climate change has started affecting me. How? I should go for mangrove cover, right? I should go for more plant cover. I should shift, like what I should try to do, like build some barricades so that island is not submerged. They all come under adaptation. Mitigation. What is mitigation? We are trying to ensure that in future there won't be any problem to us. So I need to reduce greenhouse gases. I need to shift to electric vehicles. I need to invest in solar energy. I need to invest in greeneries, right? Going for metros rather than vehicles. So all this I need to do. That is what I will reduce emissions so that in future I will be safe. So this is the core difference between what we call as, yeah. So guys, this is the core difference between adaptation and mitigation. Now, this article tries to argue that today, when it comes to global climatic fund, there are two things coming up. One, $100 billion will be provided by developed countries, and they were supposed to give by 2020, but they have pushed it till 2025, giving COVID, Russia, Ukraine war, all these as the things. But they're close in achieving it because almost they're providing 80 to $85 billion. But India recently raised the issue that this amount is not enough. At that time, they told that it must be through private financing, right? So now they are saying that the trillions of dollars that you are planning must be brought from private companies through their investments. That's a good idea because you can't expect trillions of dollars coming from, like, developed countries. But most of the developing countries, especially island countries, are already facing adaptation problems, and investors are willing to invest in mitigation because it will give profit. See, bring private investment doesn't mean they will come and give you for free. They will invest in opportunities which you provide them. For example, if you call Japan and tell, please invest in India for climate fund, Japan will tell, fine, I will invest in solar energy. But Japan will not tell, I will invest in, rising the barricade near the sea. So there is difference in investments. The companies are willing to invest wherever there is what we clearly call it as, mitigation problem. But if there is adaptation problem, they are not willing to do that. So this is where the basic change is present, guys. And this is what we need to study as well, right? I want you to write down about the climate finance. I recently it has been estimated that 6 to 13 trillion dollars is required for reducing emissions. Full stop. It is required for both mitigation and adaptation. Full stop. Adaptation measures are required for those countries which are already having the problems of climate change. Several island countries are already affected due to climate change. Example, India lost New Islands. New MOORE, New Islands. So it is very important to raise these islands artificially, and try to ensure that the land is not submerged. On the other hand, on the other hand, mitigation measures include growing trees, shifting towards electric vehicles, mass transportation, renewable energy, etc. Next point. Developed countries, developed countries have proposed that 100 billion dollar will be given every year from 2025, and they are almost reaching the targets. Full stop. But this fund is very less, and they want to get it from private investments. Unfortunately, developing countries which have adaptation issues will face the problem, which has adaptation issues will face the problem. That is, when we consider investments, private companies are willing to invest in mitigation rather than adaptation. So guys, this was important. Yeah. Next one, saving the precious. Yes, I was giving you notes on groundwater. Just there you add, even though groundwater recharge, groundwater recharge is more and extraction is less in some parts like Punjab, Haryana, Delhi, Uttar Pradesh, groundwater extraction is excessively high. Rajasthan and Gujarat, Rajasthan and Gujarat also has high extraction due to climatic conditions. Guess you must be aware Rajasthan and Gujarat is dry region because of which they don't have water and they have to extract it. Last point, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, Telangana and Andhra Pradesh are part of peninsular plateau where the aquifers are crystalline and groundwater availability is less, but but extraction is more. Because the meaning of this is whenever you have a plateau, rocks will be there, and here what has happened, uh, they are made up of extrusive igneous rocks, that is basalt flow and all has led to formation of extrusive igneous rock. And in this part, the particle size is so small that water won't percolate easily, so groundwater availability is very less in the peninsular states. That's what they're trying to argue is. Now, Vivek Kajju, who is a former Indian diplomat, is trying to say that beware about the temptation that you are planning for Ukraine mediation, because US and all wants India to talk to Russia and divert the attention. But US did the same thing when Russia attacked Afghanistan. But Rajiv Gandhi government at that time realized that US is trying to use me rather than helping me. Today also Vivek Kajju is trying to argue that India doesn't have any interest in Ukraine. We should not be over enthusiastic in mediation and get into the trouble. We should be conscious about what is happening, is what it is trying to tell us. That page is not important. No government reply. See this. Recently, what has happened? The wire I told you was involved in some illegal activities, and the government has seized some mobile phones, laptops, and all. Now, that issue is being raised here. Fine. That issue is being raised here. That's it, nothing much. Yes, I'm telling you, this year again there is an issue of collegium system and NJAC, which is traditional in your polity. Please try to read it once. Yeah. Population criteria for new Ekalavya schools impractical, says parliamentary panel. See, because the Tribal Affairs Ministry under Ekalavya scheme, they want to ensure that, there are some model residential schools where the, tribal communities can go and study. Now, for this, the criteria is they want to open the school in 15 acres of land. Second important thing is there must be at least 20,000 people in that particular area, or at least 50% of the total population must be tribal population. Now, in one case, if tribal population is more, getting 15 acres of land is difficult. In another case, if you have land but population may not be there, so the population criteria is impractical in implementing it, is what it is trying to tell. Guys, we should not be worried about implementation, that will be taken care by the government. What is important for us is the criteria, guys. Fine. Ekalavya schools, how many acres of land? 15 acres of land, right? In all sub districts, not districts, sub districts, which have ST population of 20,000 people or more, right? Who make up to at least 50% of their total population. So this is important. And the next issue is internal security issue, guys. Home Minister has told that in all the bordering areas, we must try to catch infiltrators and deport them back. Especially with respect to Bangladesh, guys, it's a regular phenomena that illegal migrants keep on coming. And there is a report which says that in the bordering states, the Muslim population has increased and madrasas has increased. Even in internal security, they had asked a question: the rise of madrasas in the bordering districts and their impact on internal security. The reason for this is illegal migrants coming from Bangladesh. They are not only settling here, they are trying to create terrorists not only against India but also against Bangladesh. So then it will be seen as Indian territory is used against Bangladesh. So that was very problematic scenario for us. So today, India and Bangladesh are doing joint border management to reduce this issue. Guys. Okay. Yeah, guys. Remember, every country in its oceans, that is from the land, if you see, 200 nautical miles will come under exclusive economic zone. Beyond 200 nautical miles, if someone is doing fishing, then it will be called as illegal, unreported and unregulated fishing. IUU we call. What is it? Illegal, unreported and unregulated fishing. And unfortunately, we are observing that IUU fishing is increasing in the world, right? And especially in North Indian Ocean, IUU fishing is increasing. Chinese are present in this region, and in the name of fishing, they have brought surveillance equipments which are going to study how missiles are being launched and all. So, India's security threat is also associated with this. But according to UNCLOS, whichever country is present closer, it should monitor who is doing the fishing and it should try to regulate it. India can regulate if it is small countries, but if China, Europe, and all are doing fishing in this part, it is very difficult for us to regulate. So, through Quad, we are planning to monitor and trying to put pressure. Fine, very, very important. You write below. Beyond in internal security only, guys. Maritime security, you can write. In North Indian Ocean, it has been observed that more than 200 Chinese fishing vessels are present. Beyond exclusive economic zone, if there is fishing, it would come under illegal, unreported, and unregulated fishing. Full stop. This is actually this is actually regulated through Cape Town Agreement, Cape Town Agreement, and the Agreement on Ports, and the Agreement on Ports. Next paragraph. Chinese Chinese are not only here for fishing, but they have vessels which can monitor missile launching centers. India is trying to India is trying to work with Quad to monitor the region. So, guys, apart from this, nothing much. Thank you, guys. Thanks a lot.